So how this today's higher education institutions scenario today you are feeling that, and what is actually the objectives, aim, and you would feel that this type of higher education institutions should be there, so that then we have that idea of higher education, and to realize that higher education institutions we need really leader and that type of leadership.
You are asking a question which will actually will take several hours if we
Yes,
start really
that's true,
discussing
sir.
on that.
That's true.
But let me try and put it as briefly as possible. Today, in fact, the whole world is changing
Yes.
very fast. We are at a inflation point where the technology is almost taking over the human society as such. The consequence of this is that the human resource development, and particularly in the higher education system, have become very challenging.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Most often than not, this brick and mortar model of a university itself is being challenged.
That's true.
The question that comes is that, are we going to dismantle all this
No, we
and
have to
bring
reform it, reframe it.
yes. So, therefore, when we start reforming, still whichever way it might be, there are going to be still the three pillars for the higher education:
Yes, sir.
teachers or mentors,
Yeah.
students, very important,
Yeah.
and also the non-teaching staff.
Oh.
The
Support.
support staff. These three are going to be there, whether you have technology or no technology, because they will have to support the technology and continue.
Yes.
In a country like India, we forget the fourth pillar which is there.
Which is what, sir?
The fourth pillar, according to me, are the parents and the stakeholders,
Oh.
because it is the parents who most of the time decides what their ward should be doing.
They, as per their expectations.
Yes, their aspirations, and therefore that has to be looked at. Now, what happens is that we also forget more often that the higher education system is probably the only sector where the leaders and the whole leadership have to deal with persons from 18 years onwards,
Yeah.
from all sectors of the society,
Yeah.
from all religion, all caste, and that becomes a very challenging aspect for anyone who is at the leadership level in the university.
Yes.
Okay? And they have to also, therefore, these university system has to have the governance which is in tune with then how to manage the aspirations of young students on one hand, and the aspirations of their parents and other stakeholders on the other hand.
Also in totality the society.
Absolutely. So, that is where one has to be very, very careful, and it becomes very different than when we look at other specific sectors, because there the things are much more defined. People have to understand much more clearly what is to be done. Here the things are vague, not so well defined, and that is why in higher education you will see that India as a whole, and even in the world, we find very few high quality leaders.
Yes, sir. Our GAR now reached to the 32%, and really when this type of absorbing all the aspirants of higher education institutions, it is not possible if they work as per their previous traditions. They have to change their rules, they have to change the approach on vision of the leadership, as you said just now, and the pillars who are really taking this higher education ahead, we have to consider it, them,
Yes.
their challenges, how the technology will support them, and due to that every sectors and expectations of the society will be satisfied, isn't it, sir?
Absolutely. In fact, what we have to really do is, therefore, the leaders in the leadership in the higher education has to, in fact, understand what is likely to be coming tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Really.
Let us take an example. When a student joins for an engineering course in any of the college or a university in India, after his 12th grade, till he gets his BTech, there are 4 years are in between.
Yes, sir.
In these 4 years, the world would have changed drastically. Now, if the way in which we train them, we give them education is not compatible and contemporary, then these students, those who are coming out of our education system, even if it was a contemporary at point when they have got into the system, they have become outdated.
Yes, sir.
And therefore, they may not be able to contribute that much to the. So, what I am making the point is that our higher education leaders in higher education have to have that vision what is happening.
Yes.
They have to develop the systems such that this system starts self evolving.
That means we have to change the higher education system, and in that what type of leadership we will need in higher education, the leader should have a vision first, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And what is in future, what is coming, they should be visualized very well way,
Yes.
isn't it, sir?
And there has to be a team with him who are there. Now, if this leader has to be a successful one, since we teachers in general are highly egoistic,
Yes.
we want our leader also to be the one who has achieved excellence at the academic level at least.
Yes, they should be excellent in academics also.
Yes, at least at the academic level. Then only we start respecting, because the leader must get the respect
Yes, sir.
from all those who are working with him. Second thing, as I have said, the leader must be highly ethical
Yes, that
and
is
must
very
have a
important point.
high integrity. You know, today the whole, we are seeing the scenario in the country with Me Too and other movement.
Yes.
So, this gender equality or unbiasedness in treating the gender has to be done properly.
So, ethics and values and integrity is also a very important aspect of leadership.
Yes. As I have said also, that the inspiration he must be providing to his teammates.
Yes. So,
If he cannot inspire his teammates, then he will not be in a way a good leader as such. What happens, as you know, in the university system and higher education system, we have a distributed structure of management.
Yes, true, sir.
Which comes because of generally the acts or the regulations that we follow at the university level.
True.
Along with that, then we have little more details about how to administer through our statutes, ordinances, rules and regulations, and so on and so forth.
We have different sections, sir. Examination section is different, planning and development is different, academics is different, and the coordination among them is a challenge before the leadership.
Absolutely, that is one level. The second thing which really comes in is how do we change them and make them relevant for the day. That is the job of the leader again.
Yeah.
Second, how does he how he works in order to create the brand for that organization, so that he can attract better teachers, better staff, and most importantly the good quality students.
Yes. And to establish brand, that the leader has to visualize the what peculiarity with that institute he with his team will be incorporate, so that that peculiarity become a brand.
Yeah. So, what are our strengths?
Yes.
He must really know. What are the weaknesses?
Yes.
And which are the weaknesses that we should really work on quickly in order to get into a sort of level where people will start not worrying too much about that weakness. It is here that the again leader has to understand that he has to get modern technologies into the system to improve the systems themselves and to bring in further or strengthen the transparency.
Yes.
Because the society always looks at the higher education institutes with hundreds of eyes. All the parents, all the sectors of the society are looking at them. So, unless the processes are transparent.
Sir, in so many programs also, you leader regarding the leadership when you as a Vice Chancellor of University of Pune and principals meeting and all this thing, you explained regarding the leaders should be open minded, unbiased, and the biasness toward gender, caste, religion. Uh, this is actually you preach every meeting when you was a leader, and we also experienced that this type of quality you was actually practicing when you was a Vice Chancellor of this university.
Yes, see, that is exactly what I am saying. I do not want to talk too much about myself, but what I will say is that leader has to not only learn these qualities through various courses like this what you are now conducting and all that, but he has to imbibe it and internalize it.
As a part of personality.
Yes, and that paradigm shift when takes place, then the things start automatically happening. More often than not, we see that there is only a behavioral change through these courses among the people, but that is not really internalized, and that is where we find the some sort of a disconnect.
Yeah.
That disconnect has to be removed. Second thing, we have to also keep in mind that in a higher education institute leader has to learn continuously. His
Yes.
learning process should not stop.
Whatever maybe the new things are coming, he should acquire it.
Yes, continuous learning ability is what we are talking about, and he or she should really encourage other colleagues of his or her
As an example.
to take up the leadership role, to take up in fact certain responsibilities and do them. The students should be given the opportunity to develop those leadership qualities in them right at that age and practice them.
Yes.
Naturally, these people may not exactly do the things in which the person at the helm of the affair would have done it. But then once you have given the charge, you have to give it completely and see that these people are performing.
Yeah.
And only after the whole work is done, then you might sit down one on one and explain where probably the things could have been improved further.
That is feedback.
That is the feedback, and also that is how you do the mentoring.
Yeah, yeah. Sir, how the leader or leadership shaping in higher education of India, in that the senior leader's role as per your views?
Senior leader have to really mentor
Yeah.
the other people, okay? Coach.
Yeah.
Just like in any sports you have a coach, this senior leader also have to be now coach in academics, in administration, in management and whatnot. These leaders also should be, the whole group in fact also should be looking at how we can develop new courses, new ways of new pedagogies, new technologies, how we can bring in. And what is it our goals are, our missions are,
Yes.
and how do we continuously evolve those goals as the time changes, as the time progresses. Okay? As I have mentioned again, I personally feel that when one is giving the training to anyone to move towards a good leader,
Yeah.
that person has to not only learn by listening, but by doing.
Yes.
And therefore, that opportunity to be given to them by the senior leaders.